How are you?
Hey, good, thanks, Andrew. How are you doing?
That's good. Hey, thanks for letting me come on the call with you. It's exciting to catch up. It's been a few weeks since I last saw you. How's your Christmas gone?
Well, I had COVID, so finally caught up with me for first time in 3 years, so it was about time. What about you? Keeping busy over the period, or you have a bit of a rest?
Yeah, look, keeping fairly busy. We've been cranking on new clients onto getKambium over the period. We've got a bunch of clients that went to trial with us through after the IT Nation event at the end of last year, both in Australia and in the United States. And so the end of the year has been remarkably busy taking them on board and just seeing what works for them. And it's been really fascinating to see some of the challenges that MSPs face. You know, some of the challenges in the US and in Australia are incredibly similar.
What are you seeing from that?
So we're seeing particularly a lot of MSPs with sort of slightly larger sales teams, 5 to even 20, 25 folk in those sales teams, looking to find a way to get those sales teams more consistent and more engaged with their customers in a strategic way. They might sit there and say, hey, here's our way of dealing with a customer, but it's typically fairly loosely managed. It's PowerPoints and Word documents and Excel templates. And they've been looking to find a way to, I guess, streamline things and allow them to get a better outcome for less work, which I think is what everybody's after. What's the kind of work, and how do you see that playing out in the customers that you're coaching in the Pax8 Academy?
I think what you just said there, a lot of work. Like I find there's probably two flavors of the MSPs that have a sales team. There's the ones that have process, but there's a lot of manual work to engage with the clients, or they've got this sales team that's really good at transactional sales, but they're not very good at like actually managing a relationship and being strategic or actually planning with the client, the opportunities, the projects and that kind of stuff. So that longer term thinking isn't there.
And right now that's really important, because at the start of the calendar year, a lot of sales teams are saying, right, look, here's our goal for the year, here's our quota, and those account reps, BDMs or customer success managers or whatever job title they have, they're sitting there going, well, how am I going to achieve those numbers this year? Well, I need to have a plan for each customer so I can see what they're going to be trying to do this year, and I can understand how us as MSP are going to talk to that and deliver to that.
And that's where the challenge comes in. Like when I see people with sales teams, there's usually two flavors of people that are coming into being in the sales team. It's very rare that we're able to hire an experienced account manager.
The unicorns, right?
Exactly. It just doesn't happen. Like the really good MSP account managers, they're not going and moving around the place that often, and there's not that many in this SME space. So we're often getting either younger junior people that aren't mature enough in terms of their just general experience in life or account management, or we've got experienced account managers that don't understand the complex MSP space. So without having proper tools and structure, it takes a lot longer for these people to ramp up. So there's a lot of wasted time and a lot of cost and effort before there's an ROI on those sort of people.
That's right. MSP, who I talk to, the MSP owners, we're one ourselves. Every month that goes by before those new hires are delivering value is painful. It's just straight out cost. And every time they engage with a customer, and they're of course our front window into our customers, it's how our customers perceive us. If those people aren't delivering value to the customer, then the customer gets a perception not just of that person, but actually by inheritance of our MSP as well. So those folk have to really be able to very quickly understand the stuff that's driving the customer's goals and how the MSP can deliver that.
And that's where that's where it gets quite difficult. I see in a lot of MSPs with sales teams struggle when there's a bit of churn at that point. It's like you lose all momentum. The experienced account managers have to dive into those clients and sort of work it all out, and they can do that, but then they start neglecting their other clients, not on purpose, but it's like you spread your good people too thin, and that's where you go backwards even faster in some ways until you go forwards again.
well, then you tend to focus on the noisy customers at the expense of the great customers who aren't always get the attention that they need. And of course, right now you've got a lot of churn. It's that time of year, and you get a bit of churn, as well as I say, people are planning for the year, and now's the time to lay that out in January and February as people come back and say, here's what 23 is going to look like, here's how we feel the economy is going to go, these are the opportunities for us, these are the threats, these are our plans to engage with the year ahead.
And that's where I think this is where you need some form of structure. This is why the transactional sales teams, they're finding it a bit more difficult. The longer we get, further away we get from the COVID boom that we had from all these projects that just sort of happened, I'm starting to see those transactional teams starting to struggle more because the client needs and wants are changing quite dramatically, and they need a bit more strategic questioning, understanding their business challenges, and actually looking at ways to digitally transform them so they can be more profitable, reduce their risk, and grow and scale.
That's the right conversation, and the challenge is helping a less experienced account manager to have that conversation naturally. Because if you ask a customer what does IT mean to them, it's not going to be the same as what an MSP thinks. An MSP is used to, back in the days, many of our MSPs, the people we're talking to, founded that was a server and there were workstations. And today that's a cloud service, and we've got software as a service, we've got platform as a service. We've got customers using Azure and AWS, 365, Google Docs, Salesforce, HubSpot, whatever in the cloud. The customer's got more IT, but less of it looks like the things that the MSP used to surface up. Yep, we've still got to maintain workstations. It's more important than ever to protect them from the new cyber threats that seem to emerge every single day. They've still got Wi-Fi points, and they've still got that physical connectivity infrastructure. But the servers, the Exchange servers, are long gone. The SQL servers are starting to disappear. A lot of the platforms that the MSPs used to look after are now migrating up, not just into the cloud, into IaaS solutions, but actually those applications are being retired and replaced with ones that the MSP doesn't directly support because they're serviced up to the customer only as a web or an app experience.
And this is where that traditional infrastructure stuff that you're talking about was easy. It's just lift and shift, replace. The server's getting old, we replace it with something newer and more modern, but it was basically the same thing. Whereas as we're heading towards this more, SaaS-based applications and the sort of the cloud and mobile workforce, what's more important than the technology is the people and the enablement. And most MSPs aren't set up to deal with that and provide services yet, but they're also not aware of that opportunity or those challenges or the changing needs of the clients, because we're not having those types of discussions with the client. We're just slowly becoming redundant in the client's eyes and getting further and further away from that strategic conversation.
Less relevance. It is about relevance. I mean, what's the customer needs? All right, they need to know, is my data safe? Is it where I think it is? Are people using the tools we've invested in to get the value that we have invested in them to achieve? Do I have MFA on everything? Do I have data duplication I need to resolve? Are people doing things in non-authorized platforms I don't know about? If somebody leaves, what are the platforms I need to take them off? What are the ones I need to take them on? Because I need to, I've got an obligation to my customers. I've now got a more stringent legal obligation, both in terms of not just my clients, but just in terms of the various legislation I've got to operate within. To achieve that, my cyber insurers put restrictions around me that I've got to operate within. How compliant am I with that when I've got this myriad of cloud applications? That's just one example of how an MSP, how a customer's IT partner needs to be the trusted advisor. Another might be, we've got a challenge in our business where it just simply takes too long. Our customers expect a faster turnaround of data, and it's taking too long for us to process a request for X or Y because we've got a manual process that we need to streamline. I mean, there's all sorts of those kind of strategic challenges that our customers need an MSP to deliver to, but a transactional account manager isn't going to be able to have that conversation.
No, and this is the danger that a lot of MSPs aren't realizing is we're still stuck in that sort of reactive sales mindset of, oh, the customer will ask us when we need stuff. Yeah, I don't know if you've suffered it, but I've seen a lot of MSPs where they're surprised when the client goes and gets an outside consultant for things that the MSP can do. And most of the time, that's because the client doesn't know you can actually do these things and haven't had those discussions. They know they've got a business problem, so they go and look to solve it. And if you're not one of the people that they go and ask first in the first place, it pretty much tells you where you're sort of sitting in the eyes of the client.
Actually, that is so right. That's exactly the perceptions. They see you as they've always seen you. So if they see you as the guys who reset passwords, fix printers, move PCs, or replace PCs and climb under desks and plug things in, then they see you as technicians. But the conversation you've just outlined is where they need to see you as a business consultant that can help them apply IT to solve their business problems. And the reality is most of the MSPs that you're talking to, that we're talking to, can do that, but the account manager who's fronting the relationship with the customer needs to be able to help the customer to see the MSP as being able to have those capabilities.
And this is where it goes back to that sort of structure and process and culture in the business as well. And often what I find, and probably what you've seen a lot, is most MSPs are still, even if the owner isn't the direct salesperson, you've got a sales team, the owner is still sort of leading the expectations of what do we do with our clients. If the owner is working with the high value clients and they're not being that strategic, what's that going to be with the rest of the client base, and where's sort of the ceiling for the sort of salespeople that you've got as well? So that it really starts from the top, this mindset.
So that's the problem. That's the problem. The problem is MSPs, relevance to the customer, and how the customer sees them as being able to meet that. So the opportunity, though, is if an MSP can do that and can get that right, can help the customer to see them as a trusted advisor, the customer actually has more IT than ever before. There's customers right now who back in the day used to get somebody to come in and set up an SBS server for them and do 10 workstations. Those days are over. They go and buy that stuff just themselves. They go down to a retailer, buy their computers, go online, set those tools up. There's a bunch more customers out there who aren't talking to MSPs that the MSPs can find and engage with and add value for their mutual success. The opportunity, if you can get this right, is bigger than any opportunity in the MSP space has ever been. The tragedy is only, I don't know, 10, 20% of MSPs are going to be able to make that because only 10 or 20 of them are going to know what to do.
I completely agree with that. And this is where if you're getting on the front foot now, like really over the next 10 years, I think with all the cybersecurity challenges, the changes in use of technology, the help that, especially in this part of the world, we're big innovators. We don't have a huge talent pool to hire from as well. So there's a lot more companies that are looking to leverage technology to grow and scale their businesses. There is a lot of money to be made if you're in the right area. Where if you're on the other side and you're still sort of that old school infrastructure transactional MSP, the market is going to shrink more and more and more, and it's not going to be a fun ride.
That's the problem. That's the opportunity. Now let's wrap up with what the answer is. And the answer is, well, it's us, right? You and I. Hey, team, that's why we're having this conversation. So for those that don't know us, I'm Andrew from getKambium. We've got a platform we've built out in the cloud. You can see the URL behind me and the QR code over my head, getKambium.com. We've got a platform that we've built that allows MSPs to systematically have the right conversation with their clients and to turn those into QBRs that the customer values and wants to attain. So having a platform is one thing. The other thing you've got to have is you've got to change your behaviors, and you've got to build some process into your organization and have people interacting in a different way. Because if you do the same old stuff as you've always done, well, you're not just going to get the same results. You're going to get less results because of the problem we've described. But if you can change your behaviors, then you're going to be successful. So that's what James wants to do with Pax8 is help you to have your sales team to be able to adapt and adopt this new opportunity as well.
100%. And it really is that mindset, the operational practices, the actually implementing the systems properly as well. I look at Cambium as it's an exciting platform. Most MSPs half do these implementations. We get excited about a shiny tool, we dump it in, and then we don't actually do anything to really implement it and get an ROI. And that's what we try and help people do, is actually get an ROI on their business, not just on sales, but through the operations and the delivery and finance side as well. Because as soon as you start tapping into these opportunities and leveraging a platform like Cambium, and you get into that mindset, your sales are going to take off. What happens then with your actual delivery and support as you're growing? Can you scale with that as well? So I want to see a lot more businesses in our space lift up to this maturity that we're talking to, and really grow and take advantage of this blue ocean.
There's good problems to have and bad problems to have. Bad problem is a shrinking market and clients seeing you as less and less relevant, as more and more of a commodity item. The good problem to have is clients seeing you as a strategic partner where they value you and you're making a difference to their business, gaining referrals, and you're both growing together. That's a great problem to have, and learning how to scale to deliver that is just the very best problem any MSP can hope to have. James, your strength is, as part of the Pax8 Academy, is leaning into those MSPs and helping them create those human structures and coaching with people on it. Our strength here at getKambium is giving the MSP the online framework to have that business conversation with their clients. It's so hard for a newbie, or even actually just a mid-experienced account manager, to move from talking about PC replacements and end-of-life devices and even cybersecurity. They can all talk cybersecurity, but we don't want to sit there and go and talk about business and the applications that the customer is using to achieve their goals. That's what getKambium does, and drives you through the QBR process. We'll help you have the right conversation with the tool. James will be happy to help you have the right behaviors with your people. And I can tell you, for anyone watching this, the opportunity for MSP that gets that right is just beyond imagination.
It is, and I'm trying to fight the good fight and share this information as wide as possible and get in front of as many MSPs to talk about this, because it's not just from our side that the opportunities are huge. It's the opportunity to affect our economies in this part of the world is massive as well. Like, we talk a big game in the MSP space of how important we are. Well, let's actually start doing that and tapping into it, and helping a lot more businesses grow and do their things a lot better. It's very purposeful work compared to the old school, let's just keep the lights on.
What a great way to end the conversation, with that challenge of going out there and helping our community, but helping the organizations within it to thrive and succeed and meet the needs of their stakeholders. James, it's been absolutely lovely having a chat with you. And I'm really excited for us to, when we catch up next in person, now that you've recovered from the virus, and I'm still managing to evade it. We'll see you soon.
Well, thanks for catching up, Andrew. Hopefully we've helped some people and thinking a bit different, and go hit 2023 with some excitement.